It's been a good day so far, and hopefully y'all get a lot out of this and enjoy this. Obviously, something we've been doing for a long time, just to kind of help out the local media here and give y'all a little head start on things. And a little different this year because usually we're going right on into Charlotte, but that'll be next week. But just a few things for me. First of all, it's been a good summer. I think. Most coaches nobody probably comes and says it's been a terrible summer, but it really has truly been a great summer. I mean, I love the focus of our guys. We've had tremendous leadership all summer. These guys have been here. The biggest thing that I would say is this is the best probably in about, probably 5 or 6 years. Our accountability, it's probably the best it's been. We with something we track. We have our accountability teams and all that. And this team, I think we have 2 guys out of 135 that are negative on accountability points, and that's never been the case. And that's one of those little internal metrics for me that really gives me an indication of the focus of this group. And so I'm excited about that. Guys are hungry to get back at it, to get back on the field and get back in the fight, if you will. We got a lot of guys back on this team that got some very valuable experience last year. A lot of those guys, a guy like a Wade Woodaz and Antonio Williams, and Nate Wiggins is a first-year starter. I mean, a lot of those guys, Blake Miller, a lot of those type of guys on our team that really got a lot of needed experience last year, but then we also had a lot of guys choose to stay and play another year. We had seven guys, and a bunch of those guys draftable that chose to stay and play another year here at Clemson, all graduates. So that's really exciting. And then we've added another, outstanding group of new recruits. So, I think the team's in a good spot. They have put the work in that is necessary to give yourself a chance to have a really good year. They've put that work in, and if they'll stay the course, then this team will have an opportunity to have another excellent year here at Clemson. I don't have any doubt about that. And then as far as health-wise, our team is in a good spot right now. As of right this second, we've got 4 guys that are Miles Oliver, Bubba McAtee, Hampton Earl, and Trey Williams that are kind of mid-camp, right after camp, but they're all kind of really trending in a good spot on where they need to be to get back for the season at some point. And so we're in a good spot. All those guys that were out of the spring, everybody's ready to roll. So I'm really, really pleased with that. And then the only real long-term deal that we're dealing with right now is Tyler Venables. He had a little tear in his hip labrum, so he had to have that fixed yesterday, as a matter of fact. So, it was a decision with him. He, try to play through it and then maybe do it after the season. And really it was kind of T-Bone's decision to go ahead and get it done because he's kind of, which I'm really excited about because he's made the decision that he really wants to really use all of his eligibility. So technically, I know it seems like he's been here a long time, but he's got 3 years to play 2. And he's, as y'all know that have been around, he's battled a lot of injuries. He had torn hamstrings. He had the other hip. He's had the shoulder. He's had a lot of setbacks. But he's such a great player and a valuable guy. But he's what we're going to try to do with him is kind of take the long haul approach and try to redshirt him this year if we can, which would be a real positive for us, for next year because it would give us a veteran guy back because we're going to lose some really veteran guys at that position. But our goal is to try to get him back this year at some point and hopefully play kind of the Skowski plan. Those of you remember that, and maybe let him play the last few games of the season and still keep his year and come back next year as a redshirt junior or a fifth-year senior, whatever he wants to do. But so that's really the only long-term thing we're dealing with right now. And other than that, everybody is back in camp or really trending, to being back, sooner than later. So, excited about that.
Coach, the recent decision by Will Taylor, was that much of a surprise for you, or did you pretty much know that baseball was his future?
We talked about that. I think we all knew that long term that was going to be his future. But Will, he wants to be a first round draft pick, and he really felt like this is what he needed to concentrate on this fall. And he's I love that kid, and hopefully he'll just come over here and sit around and hang out with us some, because he's just one of those guys you just love being around. And man, he wouldn't give anything for the experience that he's gotten. I mean, this is what he wanted. He wanted the college experience, and not many guys have the ability to play one sport, much less two, and to be a champion in both sports, to be an ACC champion in football, an ACC champion in baseball, and obviously it didn't go necessarily quite according to script. It rarely does, but he got off to a really good start and was really kind of on his way. What was that, like the fourth game maybe of his freshman year? That crazy year of 21, he was kind of on his way to really becoming a real factor for us, and got hurt. So, he missed all the spring, missed all the summer, and then came in last year, and toward the end of last year was starting to kind of, hit his stride a little bit. And but this is just kind of where he's at. He's in that third year. But he's had an amazing experience here at Clemson. It's what he wanted. I'm excited for him, but definitely the right decision on his part.
Can you elaborate on Trey Williams?
Yeah, well, he was. We had the surgery there in the spring, and so he's doing really good. We had to fix the shoulder again, and I think it was the one from high school. We had one here, another one, at Clemson, but they also had one from high school that we had to, I think, fix that again. But he's done well. He's had a good summer. I mean, he's close, and he's probably mid-camp type guy before they probably will release at the earliest there. But and he's another guy. He's kind of like Tyler. I mean, those of you who've been around here, y'all know that what we dealt with Trey. I mean, he's missed a lot of time, but he's still got a lot of time too. He really has a lot of time on his clock, and so we've really tried to just kind of hit pause with him a little bit and just slow it down and kind of play the long game with him, and let's really get him well, and let's get those shoulders fortified, and just make sure that he's ready to go, and he's in a good place. Like I say, he's had a great summer. He's really running well, and hopefully we'll have him cleared sooner than later.
Everybody's talked about how great and smooth the transition with Garrett Riley has been. They use the word fun, they use the word freedom a lot when talking about everything. And in terms of adding him to your coaching staff, how much was it set him free and let him start to roll things out, and you guys working together about implementing things and adding him and letting him take over?
I mean, no different than hiring anybody else. I mean, we have a structure here that when you come to Clemson, it's just, you plug into the structure and you perform your role. We empower everybody who comes here to do their job with accountability. And he's been a great fit. I mean, easy. It has been an easy transition. We I think got a lot done in the spring. Even though we had a lot of guys out, we got a lot of the infrastructure in, and really, terminology and just little nuances that are different. But it's been fun. It has been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and kind of a little bit of a reset, if you will. Some procedural things and systematic things, but the biggest thing is just I just really feel a reinstilled confidence, and sometimes that's. You have to have a different voice from time to time. Doesn't always say it doesn't have to. We don't necessarily have to be the best, but we got to believe it's the best. And that's a big part of it. And I just think that these guys have kind of regained their confidence in what we're doing and how we do it and why, and it's carried over into the summer. Got to go do it. Got to go do it during the season, but it's all good. But it'll get real Labor Day night.
One of the things we've heard from coaches is just how comfortable Les Goodwin has grown into his role. What have you seen from him heading into year two?
Well, that's probably a word that I would say for sure. I mean, I think that anytime you do something, you get better as you go. You know, he did a great job for us. I knew he was going to. I hired him because I really believe in him, and you know, he's got a great future for sure in this profession. And you know, he's just like when I hired Tony Elliott, you know, to call plays that first year, and he'd never done it. And we went all the way to the national championship, and we came back in 16. He was even better, right? You know, he was more comfortable. Same thing, and it's the same thing with Wes. You just get better. No different from me being a head coach. I try to get better every year, and I'm definitely better now than I was last year and 10 years ago and so forth. And it's the same thing with Wes. So the staff's in a really good place. You know, last year we had some new pieces that we were pulling together, and you know, they all work really, really well together. And you know, now that he's gained that experience, I think he's very confident, and you learn and grow. But you know, we all know what we got to do to take another step. We took a good step forward last year as a team and got back on top of this league. And you know, we have more that we want to do, and we came up a little short in a couple of those areas. And we all know what we got to do to kind of take that next step as we build back to the top of the mountain.
Cade told us after the spring game that Transformation Summer was going to be the biggest thing for him, and that he couldn't wait to, as he put it, lead his team in the summer workouts. What have you seen and heard from him, you know, since the spring?
Well, first of all, it's been a great year and some change, you know, for him. He's everything you could want in a quarterback. I mean, he's incredibly skilled. He's a natural leader. He's a gym rat. He's got high aptitude. And then you know, just obviously the skill sets, the accuracy, and all those things. But he physically has come a long way. I mean, he's about 179 pounds when he got here. I think he was 203 or 204 the other day when I looked at it. So he's just in a really good place physically. And now he's got a year of experience under his belt. He's had some success. He's had some disappointment too, and he understands, you know, what game planning is like, how we practice, you know, how we get ready, all those. He's just got a different vision for it. And when you have that very clear vision of what's coming, it's easier to prepare for it. You know, as opposed to when it's the first time, everything's the first time. You know, it's I think a little more of a challenge there. But he's off and running. He's had a great summer. Like I said, he's a gym rat. He's here all the time, and he's a very natural leader. The guys respond to him, and you know, he's no question, you know, a guy that I think has a chance to be a great player, not only in this league but you know, in the country. And so we just got to go do it.
Coach, you obviously have a great running back tandem in Moffa and Chipley. How pleased were you with what you saw from Thomas and Adams in the spring, providing a little depth there?
Really pleased. You know, Dominique, you know, we're going to be able to keep him on scholarship, so that's good. That's kind of a positive for him. It worked out that way, but you know, he's a really good player. He's different. He's different, but he's a good football player, and we're thankful to have him. And then, you know, Keith, as y'all have heard me say many times, is a sledgehammer. I mean, he's just, things get broken when he's out there. I mean, he's just a train wreck every time, and it's, you know, just a violent runner. It's the best way I can describe him. And he's still learning a lot, but I mean, he took some steps. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, we got a good group, and then obviously went and signed a couple guys that I think really deepened that room, and then I went and got a guy named James Davis too to come back. So we got it's a pretty good running back meeting room for sure. So, and you got two guys whose pictures are on the wall, you know, leading the room. That's pretty cool in there. So it's a lot of fun. But I am happy about James coming back. He's, you know, coming back to finish school, and you know, something I think he's been wanting to do for a while, and this is just kind of the right time for him and where he is in life to kind of fulfill that and check that box. And so I'm really happy for him to come back and be able to experience, you know, what he was a part of building here. But we got good group, good room. It's okay.
Dabo, coaching here for such a long time, you do almost sometimes the same thing every single year. How do you not let it get monotonous? How do you keep staying motivated and do things with purpose rather than
just what you said. I stay purpose-driven. You know, I'm not outcome-driven. I'm not expectation-driven. I'm purpose-driven and relationship-driven. So I just stay focused on the main thing. And I love what I do. I mean, I love what I do. I love where I do it. I love who I do it with. And so it's I mean, I love it. I love coaching football. I love putting a team together. I love competing. You know, I love planning. I love preparing. I love practice. So, I mean, this is actually my favorite time of year, you know, when we get ready to get back to this point, and now we start, you know, getting on the practice field with the guys, and you get to be with them every day. I mean, this is a really fun time of year. But, you know, it's year 21 for me at Clemson, and it's my 15th as the head coach, and I mean, time flies when you're having fun, as they say, and I've had a ton of fun. It's been a blast. You know, we've had 12 really good years in a row, and some of them great years. And I think this team has a chance to have another excellent year around here. And I love that challenge. But, you know, you got to fall in love with the mundane. You got to fall in love with the routine. You know, that can't ever get old because that's ultimately what you fall back on. That's what you got to love. You know, and those are the things that I appreciate more and more as the years go by, for sure. But just stay focused on the purpose of what we're all about here.
Coach Riley said that Antonio Williams has gotten faster. His confidence continues to grow for an already confident guy. So what does his offseason look like? And is he still that little Antonio as he told him last year?
You know, I mean, you know, he's not a tall guy, but he's not short either. I mean, but he's got a good stature to him. He's really a lot like Cade, you know. I mean, obviously he you know, had to come in and really play heavy snaps for us as a freshman and made freshman All-American, and has set himself up for a great second year. And you know, he's the same thing as Cade. He's just physically in a different place. He's mentally in a different place. He really has a different understanding. I thought he hit a wall a little bit last year, and then he kind of, you know, came on and found himself again, because it's hard. But now going through that second season, the off season, because, you know, he wasn't here for spring last summer. He was a summer enrollee. I'm pretty sure that's right. And so, you know, it's amazing how far he's developed. I mean, you look at him, he's thicker, he's bigger, faster, stronger, and that's what should happen if you're putting the work in. And he's done a lot of work to put himself in position to have a good sophomore surge instead of a sophomore slump, as they like to say. But we expect great things from him. I mean, he's an outstanding player.
I guess with Tyler Venables out, does that open up opportunities for Try Cobles?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, obviously we got Mickens and Makuba and JP. You know, kind of starts there, but you know, Koval and Khalil and Kylan Webb and Kylan Griffin, a kid that we're really excited about. I mean, we got a good Robert Billings who just showed up. Hadn't even had a chance to put my eyes on him yet on the field. I mean, we got a good group of guys, and you know, a lot of moving parts back there that are different from where we were last year. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. We got to be better throwing and catching, and we got to be better defending the pass. And if we do those two things, then I think we can take another step this year.
Just to confirm on scholarships, you're down to the 85 now with those 3 partners.
We're actually at 85. I got one left. You know, I know everybody likes to write about that, but we never not have a plan. We were at 87 with the 2 walk-ons. We had put Casperson, our starting snapper, who has done a great job for us. We put him on, and we put Dominique on, and Helms on last year. So, you know, Helms, we kept him on, and then so we were at 87, and with Greg deciding to you know, move on to other things, and then with Will, that allows us for sure to keep Dominique on, and then we'll go through camp, and we got one left, and we'll see, because we got 2 snappers. I got Casperson, I got Florenzo. Both those guys do a great job, and so, you know, we'll see what happens between now and when school starts. But so we're at our number and in a good spot.
Dabo, you talked about your accountability numbers at the top. Is that and the culture you develop here what keeps, you know, terrible things like the hazing at Northwestern, or, you know, the gambling issues at Alabama's baseball coach keeps them away from this program?
Well, I mean, listen, there's no anywhere there's people, you have stupid things happen from time to time, or bad things, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. But I think it's how you respond to those things that separates places and homes and companies and all those things. So we're certainly not immune to anything, bad out there. But yes, I think the way we've done things for a long time, our staff and the relationships with our players and all those type of things, and really just how we're set up organizationally from a communication standpoint. Usually, when something happens, it's we're very proactive, and we hear about it, prior to it becoming some. But if it's something public, we usually already know about it. So, again, I think that's just organizationally, how we're structured. But there's no one out there immune to something bad happening. I think the biggest thing, again, is how do you respond to those things? What are your processes in place and so forth, to deal with an issue from time to time.
Coach Griggs, thank you. Commissioner of the SEC was talking yesterday. The name, image, and likeness in his mind can only be fixed with help from the federal government. What is your take on NIL, the way it's being monitored right now? And do you see federal intervention maybe as the only way to fix the problem if you see one?
Well, I mean, Commissioner Sankey, you know a lot more than me on all that stuff. I mean, I'm just focused on Clemson. I mean, we could talk about that for the rest of this press conference, but it's been a good thing here. It hasn't been, I can only give you my lens from Clemson. There's certainly some nightmare things going on out there, and there's some like anything, intentions may be good, but there's some unintended consequences and some things that you hear that is not good for the long term. But at the end of the day, those changes are going to have to come from people who are in position to make those changes and create. But we don't have any national standard, or there's just a lot of confusion, but and a lot of chaos that comes with it. But from Clemson's perspective, it's really been a positive for us. It hasn't been a negative situation at all here. What's that?
Do you have a highlight of your summer?
My summer, I didn't really do much. We went down to the beach and then we just hung out on Lake Kiowee. That was a blast. I did play in a golf tournament with a bunch of my buddies, my boys. My little team won it. My 3-person scramble team. We won. That's about it. Just hung out and enjoyed time on. Well, that wasn't summer. That was March. So my son got married in March. Is that summer? That's not summer. Spring, right? Yeah. So he got married in March. Probably the highlight of my summer I didn't actually get to be a part of because I did go to South Africa. May is summer, isn't it? Yeah. May is summer. That counts. So I went to South Africa, and that was amazing. A trip that went with about 30 Clemson people. And I think there was like 3 or 4 former player guys on the trip, and that was amazing. We were about as off the grid as you can be. It was crazy being in that environment in the bush, and if a game drive at 5:30, another one at 3:30, and just seeing those animals in that environment, it was fascinating. Plane ride was really long, but other than that, that was an unbelievable experience. But probably the highlight of my summer was Tim Beret getting married. It's probably the highlight of my summer for sure. And we just didn't coordinate the calendars properly. I was in South Africa or wherever I was. Yeah.
You got to know what your favorite animal was.
Oh man, the lion for sure was just fascinating. The lion and the lioness.
You didn't have tigers, right?
There's no tigers. There's no tigers in that part of. We went to Cape Town for like 2 days, and then we were in Durban for like a day and a half, and then we went into the bush for like 4.5 days, and that was. There's no TVs. We couldn't get to our room one time because there was an elephant just standing in front of our door. That was a problem. you didn't leave your room. You had to, like, somebody had to escort you because it was wild. But the Lion was just, it was amazing to see this, and it was just, the stars. Just complete nothing. It was pretty fascinating, and the people there were amazing. Some really, really just genuine and super nice people. It was awesome.
He's like the kind of guy that has a great perspective on things, but like, does that even widen it? Like, do you walk away
Sure.
from something like
Sure.
that?
Sure. I'd never really been out of the country until our 25th wedding anniversary. Oh, that's another thing. I had my 29th anniversary. I should mention that. Great moment this summer. Definitely the highlight of the summer. Sure you get that. But I'd never really been out of the country other than Nassau or something. And we went to Italy, our 25th anniversary, and that was a huge perspective change for me. It was fascinating to me to see Rome and to see, Florence. That's when I learned my name was in the Vatican. To go over and you meet all these people who've never been to America, and to just kind of see that way of life over there, and to see this, it's a beautiful country, to see where the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean come together, to see the mountains of Cape Town. But to go into the bush and just to be with these people and these rangers, like, this is what they do and how they track things. And, it just is crazy. Like, we're really doing this. Like, we're just, it's not like we were at, Busch Gardens going through the safari ride down there. These are like real animals, and there's giraffes and, just elephants, and just to be in there. And then to be out at night and under the stars and to see the Southern Cross, another weird experience. You go when you're down there, you're below the equator, so you go north to get warmer. You go south, you get colder. Like Cape Town, it doesn't. Next stop is Antarctica. So it was an amazing experience from a perspective standpoint. And then when you meet a lot of people, I got to meet a lot of people over there, and it's interesting to get their perspective of America or their way of life or whatever. So you definitely get impacted by that. But it was a new continent, something I didn't think I'd ever do in my life. So it was I was a long way from Pelham, Alabama. I'll tell you that. I will say this though. It's a crazy. We can't be further off the grid, and we're in these little Jeeps. They're like, you got the guy with a gun, and you got like two people, and everybody's in these little Jeeps. And our group, there was 30 of us, so we pretty much had our own little camp, and you didn't really see anybody unless it was us. So, and I guess they talked to each other or something, the Rangers, and so somebody saw a leopard, and and that's the other thing. There's some trails, but most of the time we ran over trees and went. It was crazy. These Land Rovers they'll climb a tree. These things were powerful. But we go and we find and we could pull up and there's a little Jeep and I'm like, and that wasn't in our group. It was somebody from some other camp nearby or something. And so you don't obviously you don't know who they are. You think everybody over there is kind of a foreigner. And we pull up around them and they're all sitting there, and everybody's quiet because they're parked looking at the leopard, and we're trying to come around our guy to pull up beside them, and as they, we come around, and they're kind of like this, and they're kind of like that, and we pull around them, and just kind of wave at them. We're looking at the leopard there, and just kind of look back at the guy, and just kind of wave, and he goes, and he's like, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Who are you, and where are you from?" And it was a guy from Decatur, Alabama. Of all people, we were in school together at Alabama at the exact same time, and I'm just like, he was there with his family, and I'm just like, this is, when you think you're in this big planet, here's a guy from Decatur, Alabama, went to the same school at the same time. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I think you said it's year 21 for you.
Yep.
Going to year 21. Besides the obvious thing of winning another national championship, I'm curious, what's motivating you
What motivates me is the same thing that motivates me every year, and that is, just using the platform of education in football to build great men. Simple. I mean, that's what motivates me. If we can keep doing a great job of that, the rest takes care of itself. But, I'm motivated by that big old scoreboard they put out there in Death Valley too. I know that's very motivating. But man, I'm just motivated to do my best and be my best. That's what motivates me. I'm motivated to create a program of excellence in all areas. I'm motivated by that internal drive, that internal purpose that I have as a man. I'm motivated to glorify God. I'm motivated to be a good husband and father, and motivated to lead this program, the very best way I can, and to fulfill the purpose of the program. And that's what motivates me every single year.
How much are you looking forward to visiting that Tiger Walk in about 7 weeks?
Man, that is amazing. I mean, I was just talking about that with some of the guys. Some of those guys from '08 are here, CJ and James Davis. I mean, that's just one of the coolest things. And I was actually with Jimmy Brown last night, who he and Candace gave the money to get that going and to build that. And it's one of those things that I think we'll always take just a lot of pride in. And because I mean, when you've lived it and you really can think back on that, I'll never forget that bus ride in. First of all, I was like, we can never come to Clemson this way again, because everybody was asleep. I didn't even know we went to Clemson the way we did. I'd never ridden the bus to Clemson, until that night before the Georgia Tech game. And I'm like, what are we doing? We went I don't even know where we went. Came out by the airport, and we had said, hey, I went to Terry Don on Wednesday, and I said, hey, I just want to, can y'all just drop us off on the road? And, and he's looking at me like I was crazy. And because, you got the police got to get involved. This is a problem. We got tailgate. I'm like, we just want to walk through. I just want them to walk through and just smell it, and to see it now, that's a place that people will come year round and visit. They will go visit Tiger Walk. Our captains are going to be, in concrete there from all the Clemson teams. As far back as we can go, captains, we're going to put them in concrete. And I think that's just going to be a really neat thing. And again, it'll be neat to know how it all started and to see it come to full circle and fruition, and a real space now, a living, breathing space that people can go visit and take pictures at and have fun. And who knows, maybe there'll be a wedding there or something. If we'd have had it done sooner, I guarantee you Beret might have got married there.
What are your thoughts on left tackle? And is there kind of a timeline in your mind on when y'all would like to have that position sorted out?
I mean, not really. I mean, we got a lot of time between now and Labor Day night, but I mean, certainly you don't want to be Wednesday before the game saying, all right, who's going to start? But then also, I hope that we have a long time before we can decide, because I hope it's that competitive, and I think it's going to be. I mean, we only lost one lineman, and he got drafted by the Chargers, and I think he'll have a great year for them this year in J-Mac, and we're only losing one this year in Putnam. I mean, we got a really, it's as competitive and as deep a group as we've had around here in a long, long time. And then, with Tate out in the spring, that really was a glass half full type of thing, to be honest with you. Because we got this guy, Marcus Tate, who's played a lot of ball, and man, we're really getting him healthy, but it allowed us to really kind of force the issue with Tristan, for example. And man, he did an amazing job. If you told me Tristan Lee's going to start at us for left tackle right now, I'm sleeping just fine. I got no problem with that, because I mean, there's that guy. He's a winner, and he cares, and it's amazing the transformation that's happened in him. But who's our best five? We've got the positive is we've got a lot of versatility within our group, and we got a lot of experience now. So who's the best five? Is it Mitchell Mays and bumping Tate out? Is it Tristan at left tackle? There's so many scenarios that could play out. But I will say this: regardless of how it all shakes out, as far as who we run out there Labor Day night, as far as the first five, I think this will be a year so different from years past. I think you'll see us play probably 10 guys a game minimum. And when's the last time that's happened? I mean, I would be very, very surprised if you don't see us, play 10, maybe 11 guys a game in any situation. So that really bodes well for us. It's going to be incredibly competitive, but we got a lot of guys that we believe in that can go play for us, that have earned that trust, and so it'll be fun. But and to know that we're going to have that type of depth bodes well for us down the stretch. It was at 21. I think we played 5 guys every snap. We were just, it's crazy. We're 4th. Somehow we won 10. We were 10-3 that year. That was the craziest year ever. And then last year we were able to grow our depth a little bit, and this year it's even more so. So I think we're in a good spot there.
Competition in the spring between both kicker and punter. Expect that to continue through August again.
Yeah. I absolutely. I expect competition every single day we walk out there. I'd be disappointed if we don't. I want everybody to show up and compete, at every position. I don't want anybody to feel like, hey, they can just show up and go through the motions. But, we'll bring 2 into camp. We'll have Robert and Quinn in camp, and obviously with Liam moving on. We'll have those 2 guys, and then we got our punter situation, and hopefully Jack's going to take that next step, and same thing with Aiden. But yeah, hopefully it's a better start. Last year, I think y'all were at that first practice. It was awful, but we recovered and got a little better. But definitely looking for some great competition there. None. He got to figure that out on his own. Yeah, he'll. All of our new people, they have to run down the hill on that first game. That's always a fun time, but he'll do fine. He'll figure it out for sure.
Dabo, all your staff talked about confidence, building confidence, players' confidence. How do you build somebody's confidence deeper past the attaboys, the high fives, and fist bumps?
How do you build someone's confidence? Just through repetition and through pointing out. When you see it on tape. That's why we video everything here. And when you capture, we always say catch them doing something good. A lot of times we catch everybody doing something wrong, right? And we always critiquing, but we have a lot of opportunity. There's so much good, and so make sure we're focusing on that. And we reward excellence here, and you just you build that confidence through just your daily messaging, your daily interaction, and then again, recognizing the growth that you see, even though maybe it's not where you want it to be. But just Tristan Lee's a perfect example of that. Even though he was a long way away when he showed up here, we just kept encouraging him, stay engaged with him. Keep kind of setting that next goal, and don't let them get overwhelmed by the bigger picture. Just stay focused on just a daily task, that daily focus.
Scheduling wise for camp, how's that look? There was a change in hours last year with the Labor Day. Looks like leading into the season.
Yeah, well, fortunately for us, it's the exact same as last year. So hopefully next year we don't have to play on Labor Day night. So really not anything different for us, schedule-wise as opposed to last year. We the way they've structured it, it's good because you get a little time off. So we kind of go a couple weeks or whatever, and then we'll have about a 48-hour kind of break, and then we'll come back and then we kind of flip the camp mode to game prep mode. And start getting ready for our opponents. And then because we play on Monday night, we'll have to take a couple days during camp and do a little work on Charleston Southern, because, you play on – our reality is you play on Monday night. We're going to get back here at 5 in the morning, and it's Sunday internally, but it's Tuesday in the real world, and you play again on Saturday. So you got about 2 days, so we have to have a little bit of a working knowledge and a foundation. So we'll put a good day and a half or so on Charleston Southern, just because that's the way the schedule's set up. And but really no major change schedule-wise, camp, itinerary, all that stuff.
Now, this time of year,
there's certainly more buzz around Florida State than there has been in a while, and you guys probably have a few more doubters than maybe you've had in a while. Is that something, as somebody who likes to sort of prove the doubters wrong, is that something you think can be an advantage this time of year?
Yeah, I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong. I'm just trying to be who we are, and everybody. It's not like we live in some cave. I mean, people hear the good, hear the bad. I think at the end of the day, the external opinions and narratives, as I've said many times, that can be fuel for the fire, but it can't be the fire, because if it is, then you're up and down based on whatever narrative it is. Man, it's really more about, again, what I talked about earlier, just us being committed to just being our best, each and every year. But and all that other stuff. I think last year preseason top 25, there was probably about 10 or 11 teams that didn't even finish ranked. So none of that stuff really matters. I mean, you got to go play. But I mean, we're a team that's in the conversation. I mean, we're good enough. I mean, I'm never going to be a guy that's going to sit here and say, hey, we stink and we're not. I don't know if we can win 5 games this year. Man, I always think we can win. It's just how I think. I'm not sitting here if I thought any other way. I always think we're good enough to win. We're not good enough to just show up and win. I mean, we got to do what it takes, and we got to prepare properly, and we got to have commitment to excellence and accountability and leadership and team and all those things that win for us. But I think we can compete with anybody, and I don't really get too caught up in whether or not we're picked to win the league or picked in the top. It really doesn't matter. I mean, what matters is what we do Labor Day night, and that's what I focus on. But I have no problem with other teams being talked about as great because they've earned it. I mean, you mentioned Florida State. I mean, shoot, Florida State's a great team. I mean, they got a heck of a team, and I think Mike's done an amazing job. They got a bunch of good players, and will definitely be a team that will have a say in this league for sure. And so will we. And there'll be others, not just us two. There's going to be other teams that'll have a chance to compete for this league.
Of course, new divisions this season, so that's a new choice for you.
Yeah, kind of. It's what happened in 20, right? We had a little bit of experience with that in 20. So you lose a team or two that you normally played that we're not playing unless we see them in the championship game. But
So make sure you play Syracuse, though.
yeah. Still going up there. So no, it's good. I mean, that was the decision that was made, and so you just embrace it. And we got a tough schedule. I mean, there's a bunch of good teams and a bunch of good quarterbacks. I mean, I think what was there? There was maybe 12 starting quarterbacks in the NFL from the ACC this year, and most of any conference. And if you look at our league this year, there's a bunch of guys that are going to be playing at the next level in this league again. This is a really good quarter. Some of these guys have been around forever, and are still going. So I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks, and it seems like we play a bunch of them, a bunch of good teams, and it's a talented league, a bunch of talented coaches, and it's not going to be easy for sure. Yeah, I was always, more for the division side, for different reasons, but it's not that big a deal to me. I mean, it's, whatever. I kind of liked the opportunity, to compete for that division, and there's pluses and minuses, but it is what it is, and that's where we are, and let's go play.
Is the plan still the red shirt?
Yes, our plan. That's what we hope to do. I mean, we're super excited about, where we are at that position, and that's why we don't plan to sign a quarterback in this 24 class, but we hope that CV can be our 23 signee and our 24 signee, if you will, and it really kind of sets us up with a good situation with Cade being a junior and him being a redshirt freshman. I mean, which tells you how we feel about CV. I mean, I think we got a great player right there, and he's a young guy, and but who knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, that's as I said earlier, it rarely goes according to the script, but that's certainly something that we hope to be able to do, and get him some playing time, get him some experience. But Helms and Paul have got to be able to really bridge that gap for us. And I haven't even had a chance to see. Hunter had a great spring, but I didn't really get a chance to see Paul because he had the thumb. So I'm excited to see him. I haven't had a chance to really see him, and so look forward to seeing him out there competing as well.
The landscape of college football is becoming very different when we're standing here again a year from now. So just what is it like from a coach's perspective to see this sport continue to evolve so much?
It's been wild. It hadn't been boring, that's for sure. It's been a interesting few years in college football, and eventually, I think we're heading in a good direction and a good spot. Sometimes you got to go through some chaos to really get to the right spot, and I think we'll get there eventually. But this time next year it'll be exciting. This is the last year of the Final Four, and I know for me personally, and last year we came up. Literally, we're 1 point away, a fumbled punt return, a fumbled kick return, a play here or there from being in the playoff. And there's one more left of the Final Four, and man, it would be really cool for us to make it this year and be able to say we went to 7 out of 9 Final Fours when that era ends, because I don't think we'll ever see that era again, right? Like, you usually go back. You rarely go back. So, I think if anything, it'll go from 12 to, 16 or 14 or whatever's next. But so this is kind of an end of an era, and it'll be awesome to be able to draw on that experience as we do get into a new era next year. But it's exciting. It's been fun, and I think people are excited about college football. As much craziness as we have going on and chaos as we have going on, people still talk about it, and there's a lot of passion and a lot of interest, and it's exciting to be a part of it.
And propose to cut the transfer window in half. I imagine that would make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, I guess. I think we haven't had a lot of issues with that, but I do think that we just need a little more order there, and again, probably one of the biggest things that hopefully we'll have some type of different governance structure at some point, which I think can help in some of those areas. But we're fortunate because we haven't lost a starter yet. Guys have stayed here, so we really haven't had to deal with it a whole lot outside of a couple of guys. But that is something I think that makes a little more sense to cut that down some.
You had a long chapter bringing you guys to Clemson and your coaching staff. But what was it about Garrett that you built the trust? And of course you have to act like you trust to bring him forward.
Yeah, I'll always start internally in relationships. That's never going to change, but it's got to be feasible. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to be timing, all those type of things. I've hired lots of guys, outside of Clemson ties or even a personal relationship. I didn't know Chad Morris from anybody. I didn't know him at all. I had zero knowledge of him when I hired him. I didn't know Brent Venables. There's been a lot of people. Obviously, I knew Tony, and I knew Jeff, and we won more games in a 5-year period, and those guys had never called a play a day in their life. So you're not always right, but you make decisions that you're convicted in at the time. But Garrett was no different. I just felt like that when I made the change that he was what we needed, and the opportunity was the right fit for him and the right timing for us, and I think we've got some other really, really talented guys on our staff that are kind of heading in that direction. But just like when I brought Chad in, it was the right fit and the right timing and the right need. Same thing when I brought Kevin Steele here. He was the right fit and the right need and the right timing. Same thing when I brought Brent here. So we've had a lot of different guys in and around this program, whether they were Clemson ties or not. But I certainly love to hire people that I have relationships with, and I love to hire. Anytime I have an opportunity to hire a former player, I love that too, when they deserve it. Okay.
Thank you.